it's more than just a curriculum. It's building the ability to find answers on your own. It's building curiosity, and it's building a good biblical perspective on society and history as a whole, especially if you go through all of it. Hello, and today I'm going to talk about my all-time favorite history curriculum, pretty much the only one I use. It's called TruthQuest. Now, TruthQuest is unlike other curriculum because it's not written by one person, it's not a textbook, it's not written by a small group of people. In fact, what it does is give you outlines, it gives you a bookbinder, I'll talk about that in a second, and it gives you resources. It encourages you to go out there and find the answers on your own through primary sources, secondary sources, just with your parents' help and guidance. All things are possible. You can even interview someone and find the answer, find out more information, go on a field trip, because it is meant to kickstart that love for learning history and push you into that direction. It really is. And you're gonna find that happening with TruthQuest. TruthQuest is not just to sit down, get it done in 10, I mean, it could be, but when you get into it, you don't want it to be, because everybody in the family gets involved. It's great for large families because it's very topical. She does give you books for different ages, but let me just kind of start from the beginning. I'm gonna give you a flip through of the book. I'm gonna show you the different options of things that they can do, the bookbinder, the notes, the map, the timeline, and where to find those. And I'm just gonna talk about our experience with it. We have been doing it for now, I think 6 years. We've been doing it since my son was in 2nd grade. We started with American History, and then American History 2, American History 3. That's right, I said it's 3 unit studies of American history. That's how important American history is. As a whole though, the curriculum is mainly focused on trying to get you to see history through a biblical perspective, looking at it through God's eyes and asking yourself questions. Why did the people do this? Is it something that God was pleased with? How do you think God handled this? A lot of deep questions, especially for our older high schoolers, but light enough for the little ones that just want to hear about the fun little, inventions and wars, and wars aren't fun. Wars are definitely, they're not fun. But inventions are, and the Industrial Revolution is, and so is George Washington and horses. Johnny Appleseed's pretty cool. So this is the book for American History 3, and it is written mainly for the elementary school kids, but like I said, large family, you can do them all. So here is your table of contents. Now, it's divided up into sections like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then subsections right here. Those, I would say, if you really wanted to, you could do like this in a week, focus on 1 per week. Honestly, you could do this book in 6 months if you really put your mind to it. This book could also be done in 2 years, and we did that. This book took 2 years to do for us because it was there's so much there. Of course, in the beginning, they're gonna give you a how to use this book kind of thing, like most curriculum does. Then it's gonna give you some recommendations for spines. Now, this is just suggested. All the books that are in here are just suggestions. You don't have to use them all. We didn't use them all, and we still took a long time to go through one of them. But some of the resources, you have Story of the Great Republic, This Country of Ours, you have Reconstruction. I know that Story of the World is considered a spine. There's some other ones that you may know of. And those are just kind of resources, or if you want that spine. For example, this book, this is gonna be sorry, my book's totally falling apart. This one's gonna be The Age of Revolution. And so they're recommending Light and Glory for Children, From Sea to Shining Sea, Story of the World, Story of the 13 Colonies, This Country of Ours, Island Story is really good, actually. You can find some of these up on Scribd. I love Scribd, we use that. That's a great resource. It's audiobooks and ebooks that you can get to a subscription. I'll leave a link in the description box below. It kind of pays for itself if you do a lot of reading. This is one of the books that they recommend for spines. Now, this guy wrote a bunch of books. So this is the Middle Ages. We have one for Greece. We have one for Rome. I think he has some for American history. But this guy's for high school and middle school is like, there's some really cool stories in here. So this is one of the ones that I just had to pull out and show you. So you have your spines, you can use them throughout optionally. So there's that. Now let me look at a chapter. So this is chapter 2, section 2. It's called Western Hoe. She has written a little synopsis. It is Christian based. And she talks about the Lord, she talks about Jesus, and she tries to teach it from his perspective. Now, TruthQuest approaches everything with 2 big beliefs. Who is God? And then who then is mankind? And you're asking that question as you go through basically all of TruthQuest. Who is God? Who is their God, so to speak? Whether it's pagan gods, whether it's the one true God, whether it's themselves. And then based off of that, who is mankind compared to that God? So back to this section 2. So you read through it probably on the first day of your lesson. And then you have the different books that you can buy or borrow from the library or get off of an ebook. So what's nice about these is she's going to put the grade level next to it. So as you can see, this one, Wagon Wheels, is an I Can Read book, and those grades K through 2. Down here, you've got Clara and Book Wagon, grades K through 2. And they're always in order. You come down here, you're going to get First Book of Pioneers, grades 3 through 8. And these have a lot of resources too for these. Down here, you're gonna get Famous Pioneers, grade 4 through 12. Down here, just for fun, this is just History of Life through Music, Westward Ho, some music, audio stuff. Sometimes they'll have a fictional section with just a bunch of fictional books that you can read. Then over here, oh, yep, she has it right here, actually. Fiction, historical fiction, Trained to Somewhere, the grade level. You just pick. You don't use all these books. You just pick and choose. Kind of what I do is whatever the library has at the time is what we use. Sometimes I purchase the books. Sometimes she'll write a little note on there saying this is a really good book if you can get a hold of it. So I will make it a point to go out of my way to purchase that book, and you can find them pretty easily on Amazon, discounted and used. Here's the rest of the fiction, and of course this is Little House on the Prairie, so she just has to write a whole bunch of stuff about that, right? It's one of those that needs like a triple, quadruple asterisk next to it. Like you should really look into doing that book. And there's more fiction books. Look, that's a lot. That's a lot of fictional books right there. Not all of the sections are this long. Here's 2B. This would be like the next day. And then see, you'll notice it's gonna be a lot smaller. Here's 2B. Here's 2C and 2D. They're a lot shorter than that 2A section. And then here's section 3. Like I said, you could take however long you want to do it. Take 2 weeks to do a section, half a week, whatever works best for you. Now there will come a point with those high schoolers, and they have a section in the back of the book. Also, all the books references are alphabetized in the back, just if you need to refer to them at any time. But in the appendix, they have these things called Think Right. So these are called the Think Right response, right? It's the essays that the middle schoolers, high schoolers are going to write about. There's not a bunch of them. I think this book has 1, 2, 3. It has 3. One of my other books has 8. But it's gonna say, what's the big deal? And it gives you a writing prompt. And it kind of tells you what you should expect from your child. Of course, this one says, what's the big deal? Though it may be hard, try your best to explain why it's so important that we know God created us and the whole world. And so then she writes a little thing, it is important to overstate the importance of understanding that God is the creator of mankind and the entire world. Of course, there's a lot of theology in here that, well, this one's not that bad, but there is sometimes some theology in there that you may or may not agree later on in some of the other books. So, and you can adjust. So that's kind of the basic layout of the book. This book in particular looks like it has 33 lessons, which fits perfect for a full school year if you did it once a week. You're not just gonna be reading and discussing and writing essays. There's also some other options that you can use. I mean, you could do just that, totally fine, but there are some other options that you can use. They have a binder builder, they have notebooking pages, and maps and timelines and reports. Those are 3 different PDFs that you can purchase. You can also purchase them in a bundle, but let me tell you a little bit about them. The maps, timeline, and reports, it's cute. We used it once, but I bought it once and then I didn't really use it. But basically they're memory cards with facts on it. And then you can build a timeline with these little cards that you glue on, and you can color them with, I think you can color them probably with little nice colored pencils would be nice. Then the reports are kind of like book reports. Some of them are, some is research reports. There's newspaper articles, there's field trip forms, and then of course there's a lesson plan and a book list. Now that I'm talking about it, I think I might want to get that bundle for the next round. That timeline sounds, I experienced it once. It was good, especially for the older kids. I think it's really good actually because they're building a timeline. And the memory cards are great because you're learning so much about history, but there's always like the basic facts that you're supposed to know. And I think those memory cards kind of help fill in those kind of gaps, even though you end up learning those things through context. The notebooking pages are nice as long as you know what to expect. They're just lined paper with pictures from history. It's great for taking notes if you want your child to just take notes. It's good for jotting down brainstorm ideas if they're writing an essay for you. That's basically it. They're just pretty lined papers, so to speak. The binder builder is something that I've used every single time. And so I'm actually going to show you an example of that with my kids, their folders. There it is. There's the folder. It's pretty much an interactive notebook. So this is my son's interactive notebook, and this actually is covering ancient Greece, ancient Rome. I think that's it. They have a lot of maps in there that you color, and it'll give you instructions on how to color the map. They do have the Think Right pages in here. You can use the pages that they have. You can also make them type it up as a report. Totally up to you, and it's flexible like that. Here's another map. This one, what he did is he colored it, but then he labeled all the cities, and he actually retold, because this says trace the path of the Minoans and create a key at the bottom of the page. So I kind of adjusted a little bit. He went through and explained what happened in each place. It was more of like an oral, I changed it up a little bit. And that's what's so great, you can make it flexible. Okay, so here is some little flip, the Punic Wars, armor, weapons, and all the answers to these little things, you have to actually search it out in the books that you borrow from the library. Also using your resources. One of our favorite websites is Duckster. I'll leave a link down below in the description box. But I love that website because it's very simple to the point, and they have so much just right at you information, and it's for kids. So you don't have to worry about having to filter things out or explaining the vocabulary for a lot of the words. Here's his little soldier, Greek soldier. Of course, with us, doing Rome, we're going through, Mark Antony, Caesar, and of course, the time of Jesus. We did some of those. Here's some more. You got a wheel with information on it. Here's his picture of Pompeii. And they'll ask you questions like, what was life before Pompeii, and what was life in Pompeii after the volcano? And so you have to kind of find these things out. They have little cards that you put in there. So we have like family and food, houses, life in Pompeii after the volcano. Probably should just be empty. But see, what's cool is because you're looking at the resources on your own, you're able to seek out things that people don't usually talk about. I mean, we talk about Pompeii. We look at the cool pictures of the leftover body ash, but we don't really talk about that people actually escaped. We don't talk about how Pompeii and Mount Vesuvius impacted Greece at that time too often. I mean, it does give you a good idea of what the binder builder looks like. I mean, you can do whatever binder you want. You don't have to do a notebook. And what's nice is we did it as a family. So my other son, they both have them. And sometimes they did it together. Sometimes they did it individually. I mean, every day, just depending upon the day. If it seemed like we had a really light workload when it came to their other subjects, I may have kind of upped, maybe their history. I had them, we did a lot of discussions. Don't do TruthQuest if you don't have time to spend on history, if you don't care about history, if you just want to kind of get it done, go get Story of the World. You got that spine. Story of the World's great. In fact, we use Story of the World with TruthQuest. TruthQuest is very in-depth, but it is what you make out of it. you could rush through it and not get much out of it too. I mean, you can do that too. I would say it's very Charlette Mason. I think you guys kind of guessed that just by looking at it. And it's very curiosity driven too. I mean, there's so many times where my kids are like, well, what about this? And I found my kids going to the library and searching through the books on the subject that we were talking about. I've seen my kids reenact sword fights. I mean, I had one morning I woke up and my kids are running around pretending to be Sparta. Field trips. It has provoked a lot of field trips. When we were doing American history, we went to a World War II reenactment / presentation kind of thing. We went to Williamsburg, Virginia. Saying that this sparked Williamsburg, Virginia field trip is definitely valid. It's more than just a curriculum. It's building the ability to find answers on your own. It's building curiosity, and it's building a good biblical perspective on society and history as a whole, especially if you go through all of it. They have ancient history. They do have biblical history that goes along with it. They have ancient Egyptians. It goes into ancient Greece, ancient Rome, then it will go into the Middle Ages, it'll go into the Renaissance, and I think the Industrial Revolution, but they also have the 3 for American history as well. So I will leave links in the description box below. I am not an affiliate with TruthQuest. I have all their stuff. I don't know. But I do have some Amazon links, which are affiliate links too, that you can check out. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. I love this curriculum, so I will be more than happy to take some time out to answer them. Feel free to subscribe to our channel. We are a homeschool family. I'm a former public and private school teacher. I homeschool 4 kids. I'm an evaluator for the state of Florida. My youngest has Down syndrome, and this is our journey. This is our journey as we learn together. I'm gonna see you guys in some other videos because I'm sticking them around my face right now, and I'm hoping you click on them. Bye.